Derek, didn't you get, if I remember correctly, weren't you bouncing and then someone sucker punched you?
Yeah, so I've never had a broken nose, but I've had the zygoma was like pushed in from getting sucker punched one night when I was bouncing. It was like end of the night, I had to close up, and in general, you have like a certain amount of time where you're willing to, you have to walk around and kind of do the rounds and just tell people time to go, lights are on, get out of here. And one dude just like was kind of, I don't know, giving me shit all night sort of thing. Or at least was like giving signs of being kind of like, I don't know, off. And then, he sucker punched me at the end of the night, and I had to get this bone like pushed back out, or else it would be like sunken, I guess.
What led to it? Tell me more about the conversations and the like low level conflict that happened that night.
I think it was just like it. At that bar I was working at, there's kind of a, it's not like everyone gets in. You kind of pick and choose who gets in. And sometimes it's as significant as only hot girls get in and ugly ones, you have to make up an excuse why they can't get in. So like when the Vancouver Canucks are playing fill in the blank team, the opposing team would typically come party at that bar. It was like a more private, low amount of people location with low capacity limits, and it's like a really kind of quiet private place for them to party. It was like a champagne lounge, it was called. And typically we would, when those teams would come in, we'd have just the team, and then we'd have to pick and choose girls based on like how attractive we think they are, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Interactive? Are you picking sluts for the opposing hockey team? Is that what you're saying? All right.
Yeah. So like you deem the quality like as they're at the door, and the other ones you have to make up a reason why they couldn't get in. And for dudes, you would end up turning everyone away if they weren't on the team.
I'm sorry. Do you play for the Carolina Hurricanes? Fuck, you don't? Then you're not gonna.
You'd be like, sorry, dude, we're at capacity, and then you'd like let some chick in right beside them.
And they're like, oh, I get it, because I'm not a professional athlete, you're not going to let me in. It's like, yes, exactly, Uggo, get out of line.
Yeah, but and that's just one example of many where you'd have,
but he was in, so why was he upset?
That guy, he had just kind of, I'm just giving like a primer of how like ridiculous the standards are of this place. But he was just like kind of belligerent and drunk, and I guess got a bit mouthy with me, and I got mouthy back, and obviously had it out for me by the end of the night where he wanted to like show me what's up, I guess. And when I told him like you got to get the fuck out, because this guy was giving us a hard time just to leave the bar even once the lights were on.
Did you alpha him a little bit on the way out the door? Like, all right, bro, don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split.
Yeah. I definitely gave him enough of a reason, I guess, in his mind to justify swinging. But in my mind, it was like, let's get the fuck out, Like, I want to go home and eat some taquitos, bro. Like,
I'm at work. Like, come on, let me leave.
Yeah.
Were there ever any good stories you remember of specific teams that they like stuck in your mind? Were like, golly, the fucking Calgary Flames are a madhouse.
Well, I don't want to leave this story yet.
I know, he heard hockey and he's got a scent for it.
Yeah, I know. It's like squirrel.
Do you know Jaromir Jagr?
That was his name.
So before we go to Taylor's question,
did you get Jaromir to sign my stick?
Were you looking the other way? Right. Did he come? You just weren't expecting violence? Like he hit you?
Oh yeah, I was not expecting violence at all. I was just like, this guy's a belligerent, like aggressive dude. Maybe who not even aggressive, just like mouthy, And if somebody's mouthy with you in the bar and you're a bouncer, like oftentimes it's like, the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, it's just, we're asking you to go home after we're closed. Like, this isn't a weird request.
Yeah.
So he just didn't like my.
So did anything happen to him? Other bouncers, police?
We got like tossed out by the other bouncers, and I don't even remember if they beat him up after or not, but hopefully.
Damn, you'd hope so, right?
Yeah. But you're having surgery. It doesn't seem like justice was served.
Like I guess I had the opportunity to press charges if I wanted, but I mean, I just didn't. And it kind of was the catalyst to me starting my online stuff. So maybe I was just so happy with how that was going. I just didn't really give a fuck. So I never went back to the job after that, actually, because I started writing blog articles on my website, MorePlatesMoreDates.com. when I was injured. So while I was healing, I just started typing different articles about how to gain muscle, how to do this, how to do that. Started making YouTube videos in 2016, and then it kind of picked up steam. And I was like, why would I go bounce and deal with rowdy fucking people when I could just keep making content online and make more money? So yeah, that was kind of the blessing in disguise from that guy.
It's crazy when
really panned out. Shout out to that guy.
That guy,
dude,
Mr. Beast.
Huge shout out to that guy who assaulted Derek 9 years ago.
All right, Taylor, do you want to talk about hockey players scoring loose women?
I thought it followed. He brought up the Vancouver Canucks.
There was no more interesting dynamic than watching how girls would talk to what they perceive to be professional NHL players versus the average bar guy. So like on those nights when they thought it was just NHL players in the room, totally different behavior. And it was interesting too, because I'm tall, white, and I guess look like I might play hockey.
Sure.
So they often thought I was on the team.
And I was wearing a jersey, and I had a cyst,
this notion, or just roll into it.
We used to like have a joke among the bouncers that I would just like after work go leave with the team and start playing like in the game and just like play out the weirdest scenarios. But like for the night, the chicks would think anyone who looked like they were dressed well and played hockey was a hockey player. And just really interesting to see the social dynamics in itself, but also, I don't know. I've never seen athletes that looked less like professional athletes than NHL players.
A lot of them are smaller than you think.
Yeah, they're just
like, how the hell did you get in the league? And he's like, I'm actually pretty quick. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, it's just like in Canada too. Like a lot of the best hockey players come from Canada, unlike other sports. So it didn't look much different than some of the guys that would just like go to a house party with like 2 years ago, in high school. I was like, this guy just looks like a fucking frat bro.
Yeah. This is just a normal looking frat guy who makes, what is it? Oh, $9 million a year. Fuck.
Yeah. But specifics about which teams, I don't recall, but it was interesting because the Canucks very rarely came. It was always the other team.
Yeah, they probably had their own.
So what were the girls like when I guess they were trying to pick you up, thinking you were a meal ticket?
Yeah, they'd be like, how long are you in town for? Like, oh, like, what's it like playing hockey? Just like, what's a pickup line a girl could come up with that is they think is good? Often, which is interesting because typically almost never happens where they would come up to you and try and like hit you with a line. So having some 10 out of 10 chick come up to you and try to run a pickup line, quite an interesting situation. But yeah, they were just like way more apt to talk and open to whatever and smiling at every single thing you said, even if it was stupid. Just kind of what you'd expect.
Did you play into it ever where they're like, so how long are you in town? And you're like, well, we go to St. Louis against the Blues on Tuesday, but
it was funny because the first couple times it happened, I was so oblivious. I was like, what are you talking about? I live here. And they were like, oh, like, how do you live here and play wherever? I was like, what the
have my own plane, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the worst player on the team. They leave me alone.
So, yeah, but I don't know. There was a few times I kind of just like saw how far it would go. But
I want to see you be like a complete conversational moron and see if they hit it back. Like, like, hey,
they were totally into it.
Why are rubber duckies always yellow? And then just be like, that's an astute observation.
You're so
pretty
funny.
Smart. Have you ever seen
I play hockey for Vancouver Canucks. And they're like, you crack me up.
Have you ever seen those like social experiment videos on YouTube where they take like a really attractive dude's photos and then make a fake Tinder profile or something and then see how obscene they can make and they'll be like former rapist or like pedophile or whatever, and the chicks will still be like, well, I'm glad that part of your life's over now. And he'll be like, I just have to let you know, like, I've sexually assaulted like 3 minors, and I'm on, and they'll be like, oh, that's crazy. What? But now everything's fine, right?
Oh yeah, I got it all out of my system.
I sated my bloodlust through those years. Don't worry.
Meanwhile, you have like an average guy who isn't attractive, and he said like, "Hey, what's up?" And they think you're a creep, So,
oh yeah, It's literally like that HR meme.
Yeah.
No, literally to a point. And the funniest, the most interesting part of the NHL players is oftentimes those guys aren't traditionally attractive. They're like missing fucking teeth, balding, and just like frat bros to the max that don't really seem to put that much care, a lot of them, into their like appearance because, you know, I'm an NHL player. I'll just show up and who cares?
Yeah.
And they would treat you like the 10 out of 10 guy on Tinder who's a pedophile, you know? Like it's
So you
so you can walk up to the max and it doesn't matter kind of thing.